All right. I think we are going live. There we are. We are live.
Beautiful.
Hello and welcome to the Hidden Laws of Leadership.
Yeah.
I'm Blaine Bartlett.
I was going to say, and you're Blaine.
And you're Doland.
And I'm Doland. And welcome back. Welcome back for Thursday, Power of You. And we're live.
This is not the power of you. This is not the power of you.
Oh,
yes, wait a minute. It is the power of you.
It is. I'm thinking.
It is the power of you.
There's an icon on my screen that says Power of You.
Yes. And, the slide set that I've got up is for the hidden laws.
Which is what we're covering.
You're right. Okay. Let's reverse this and start all over. Okay.
Thank God we're pros.
We are pros. Do not try this at home. So,
where are we and what am I talking about?
How come I didn't know this earlier?
I love that. It reminds me of the days. It's kind of like as a musician, when you walk into the room and they hand you a chart, it's just got a list of chords.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I have no idea what this is for, but I at least know where I'm starting. I'm in the key of G,
know where I'm going.
And I'm going. There you go.
I had the little.
Well, welcome to the Power of You.
We are doing the Power of You, and we're doing the Hidden Laws version of the Power of You, law number 7 today.
Correct. And you're still Blaine.
I'm still Blaine.
I'm still Doland. And we're going. Oh man!
I just literally the clutch slipped, and I had us doing another show that we're doing next week.
I know. Well, it's funny because it's just before, as we were talking pre-air, you had office hours with Meltzer this morning at 6 a.m.
6 a.m. this morning,
and then quickly wandered off into other stuff, and then came here. I had 2 coaching calls. And then it just put the blinders on. We're in today. Let's go.
So snowball. So here we go.
So leaders, if your days ever feel like this, we're with you. We're just know that we're with you.
We are trained professionals. You do not want to do this at home.
So welcome to the Power of You, the Hidden Laws of Leadership edition.
Yes.
There we go.
Where we're at.
That's it. That's where we are.
We started this 6 episodes ago. This is the 7th. Yeah. There are 7 episodes or 7 hidden laws that we're addressing. Today we're addressing law number 6.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the more fascinating laws because it's so subjective in a lot of different ways. It's more about. Yeah, if we define leaders as being people that cause movement, by a definition, everybody's causing movement, so everybody's a leader. The way that you do that makes a difference. And this has nothing to do with skill or anything else. It has to do with an observation. Am I getting the kind of movement I want in such a way that I don't have to go back and clean up after myself?
Yep. Yeah.
Because I can get a lot of movement if I got a big stick or a big pot of money, but boy, then I got a whole lot of collateral damage that I got to worry about.
Oh yeah, I love your intro into that, Blaine, because all of the conversation around each of the 7 laws. This is a meaty conversation, and we've warned leaders. You may listen to some of this and go, it feels a little woo-woo to me. But when we talk about mindset, and we talk about noticing what we're noticing, and we talk about we're not going to revisit the other laws because we don't have that much time today. But as we're heading into this, pay close attention to this because these hidden laws are way below the surface of leading a successful organization that creates sustainable success, which is what you're really looking for in the end. It's how do I as a leader create that opportunity, that space for a sustainable success. It's been a busy talking day.
I've got kind of a day.
Yeah. Thank God I got more coffee right here. I'm good to go.
So I need to get some.
There you go.
When we're talking about movement, and I kind of crib this from a little bit from software coding, and you're a coder, we both have done stuff with this. I started writing code in Fortran, way back in the 1970s on punch cards. I'm dating myself here.
Call Blaine. I'll put up a number if you guys want to know what Fortran's all about. He can explain it to you. As I can, but I'd rather you get it from Blaine. So there you go.
Well, elegance here, in a software sense, it's, the program is bug-free, is an elegant piece of software. You don't have to go back and clean up after yourself. There's no glitches. You don't have to kind of debug it. The same can be applied to leadership. Elegant movement is what we want to actually end up achieving, because if we've got to go back and clean up after ourselves, we're expending resources, we're expending time, we're expending other people's energies, we're compromising morale. I mean, there's all kinds of prices that get paid if we're not paying attention to elegance as part of our leadership modality, as part of how we go about leading our organizations. And this quotation, I was telling Doland just before we started here, the original quotation was attributed to Coco Chanel, the beautician, the fashion designer. But I've kind of modified it a bit here. Elegance is when the outside is as beautiful as the inside. Now, think about that for just a minute. As a leader, you've got an idea about what you'd like to see happen, the movement that you'd like to see happening. That idea, how does it get translated into physical activity? That's where the breakdown occurs, because we oftentimes don't pay attention to that whole notion. We're just fixated on that end result. We wanted this result. We're going to cause movement to make that happen. This is an invitation to pay attention to that delta, that gap between the idea that you have, the endpoint that you're targeting, and what fills that space. You can fill it with all kinds of stuff. And if the outside, that space, is as beautiful as the inside, the imagined outcome, then you have elegance that you're working with. For me, it's just a real interesting way to think about, how am I leading this next initiative, leading my people, leading myself?
Yeah, I love that stance, and it's a great question for you as you're thinking about the things that we lead. And there's 1,000 things that you lead across the day, huge, big initiatives and little tiny initiatives that swing big doors. When you think about it from that perspective with elegance, boy, it changes the dynamic. So far we've talked about essential self, authenticity, and authenticity can't be fake. I just thought I'd throw that out there. Law of distorted reality, and I think we talked about some guy from Apple and the distorted reality. Some guy,
reality field, something like that.
I don't know what was that going on there. Vibrational fit, creative constraints, and superstructure. Superstructure was fun last week. That's a great topic. All of these are great topics.
And all of these are available. They're available on a website. So we'll tell you about that a little bit later, but they're all available for review.
Come get them.
Come get them.
And then the law of elegant movement. That's today. It's all about elegance. And we're a couple of elegant guys. So this would be a good conversation.
Yeah, and we're good looking too.
I know. Look at us. We did.
If we do say so ourselves.
Yes. Why not?
So, this is all focused on leadership, and these are hidden laws. And to Doland's point, they're typically out of sight, out of mind, but they're operating all the time.
Important.
They drive everything. And if you don't understand what these hidden laws are, I don't care what you throw into the mix, it's going to get chewed up and spit out if you're not leveraging these laws effectively. And what we're talking about here, and we'll just define this, leaders cause movement, but you want to be elegant in that process. And the way that we are working with this is the way you achieve that is by understanding that it's an activity. Leadership is an activity of influencing other people. This is not command and control. This is state of being work, leadership presence. Before you ever open your mouth, you're setting things in motion. What are you setting in motion? What are they responding to before you ever said a word? So influencing others in order to co-create ownership transfers. Not just my idea anymore. It's now our idea. And they have got a piece in it that they actually care about. And that ownership transfer is very crucial to commitment. So co-creating coordinated movement. Ideally, you're going to be moving as you scale your organization into territory you've never been before. That's the nature of growth. And you're guaranteed to step on each other's toes in the middle of that process. We call these growing pains. At least my grandmother called them growing pains. Happen. How do you coordinate? How do you actually agree to disagree? How do you actually facilitate use of conflict? You don't want to get rid of conflict necessarily. You want to be able to leverage it well. And it's all in pursuit of what we're calling a worthy ideal. Yeah. So that's what leadership is, and that worthy ideal. And this is something that both Doland and I really, really focus on. Doctor,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
But it's interesting. The leadership is that when we had a great conversation yesterday with a client talking about North Stars. Leadership is not the vision. It's not your goals. It's not that. I'm sorry, the for the sake of what, we know what leadership is, but it's not your vision. It is not that 10% increase in margin or revenue. This for the sake of what, that worthy ideal, it is what matters. And it's not only what matters to your organization. What matters to your organization is critically important. It's that we do these things in our organization or company for the sake of this. But it is that worthy ideal that is in alignment with the individuals on your team and your organization, your leaders, all the way down to the forklift driver. Just to bring up, we got to find a forklift driver or have him on.
Yeah, a little forklift.
Him or her. Don't want to be too specific. So as we think about that worthy ideal is what inspires us. The easiest way, leaders, for you to think about it is your worthy ideal is what is it that gets you out of bed in the morning that you're moving towards. That is your worthy ideal.
Yeah, that actually lights you up when you think about it.
Yeah, you get excited. You feel, and when people ask you about it, you have a physiological change. You feel alive.
Yeah.
What is it that makes you feel alive?
Yeah.
That's the worthy ideal. And that is what moves you forward. That's when we talk about in the definition of leadership is moving towards that worthy ideal. That's how we define it.
Yeah.
So
and it's that piece of that spark, that light that starts to shine when somebody, and this is the difference between motivation and inspiration. You can motivate people with, again, a big enough stick or a big enough pot of money,
sure,
but there's no light. There's no joie de vivre that kind of comes into play here. It's kind of like, well, okay, I guess I can do
a little
that.
French there. That was good.
Yeah, joie de vivre. Inspiration comes from the inside out. It's the spirit. Yeah,
right.
When the idea with this worthy ideal, and this is where this hidden law of elegant movement comes into play here. This is where the beauty inside gets to be expressed externally. It's when people are tapping into something that is really, really cared about for them. This is, the way we describe this in a business context is it's emotional engagement. We have our people emotionally engaged. Well, it's not just a phrase. It's not just a meme. It's emotional engagement is a resonance with something that is mattering to me for the sake of what? That's what this is about.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting here. Paulo, I can never pronounce his last name right. Coelho. Great author, got some amazing stuff out there. This quote, I really liked it. Elegance is achieved when all that is superfluous has been discarded and the human being discovers simplicity and concentration. And if you think about it in the terms of an artist, when you're being in the flow, and every one of us have had an experience of being in the flow. Everything that's superfluous is discarded. You don't notice the noise. You don't notice the environment. You're just present. and it's flowing. It's simple. And in a Buddhistic fashion, it's the notion of effortless efforting.
Yes.
You got to do the work, but it's easy.
Yeah.
And because it's easy, it feels beautiful. It feels elegant.
Yeah. And I love this quote, because one of the things that, for me about this is discovering simplicity. It is that when we think about discovery, and when you're going to go discover something, it's a deliberate action. I'm going to go discover a new path to the grocery store, which, for me is a big deal. But if I'm going to discover simplicity, it is that deliberate action. I'm going to go look for simplicity. I'm going to go discover that. And I love how this puts it together. When all that is superfluous has been discarded, then the human being discovers, made the act, the intentional act to go find simplicity and concentration, of course, focus.
So, kind of that for the sake of what, you can't tell somebody what they're for the sake of what.
Oh, no. Well, you can.
Well, you can, but you're not going to get very far if you do. Here's your for the sake of what. Here's why this is important.
This is why you should. Here's why you should care.
But you can invite an exploration. Tell me why we should care about this. If we did this, what would it make possible for you? Is that important to you?
That's important. Yes.
So this notion of elegant movement, again, I kind of come back to, we're always causing movement. Most of the time, however, it's not particularly elegant because we got to go back and clean up.
Right.
Oops, I didn't mean to say that. I didn't mean to get in your face around that. Let me apologize, or whatever it might be.
Yes.
Minimal unintended consequences. And there's really three components to this. We think of these as modalities, I guess, or capacity areas, domains. I think it'd be a better word. This notion of spirit. Again, we go back to the first quote. Is the external as beautiful as the internal? That's what we're looking at. How do you do that? Well, entering into the spirit, the observer, the observer. Well, when you get your feathers ruffled, what happens? You want to observe what's going on here. So you can't control what's going on out there. What you can do something about is your reaction to and your response to what goes on. That's where the observer comes in, because that sets the tone for the whole organization doing things, the team doing things. And then the idea here of vulnerable trust, we'll go into that one in a little bit more detail, obviously. But everything in an organization is based on relationship. And all relationships are foundationally supported by trust. All relationships. I trust that this floor is not going to collapse because the foundation is strong. I trust. That sort of a thing. So let's just jump into this and see where we got. See what we've got here. So Thomas Troward. Many of you may not know who Thomas Troward is. Doland and I were introduced to him by our very dear friend, the late Bob Proctor. I remember sitting with Bob, and he was quoting this guy and what he was talking about. But I just go, why weren't you hear that? That's a fascinating. So that's Thomas Troward. And I went, who? He said, you've never heard of Thomas? I mean, it was just kind of, no, never did, Bob. This was. Good Lord, this was 15 years ago, 15, almost 20 years ago.
Similar experience with Bob. Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. What? So, what? You, let me correct you here. So, I now have everything that Thomas Troward has ever written.
There it is. Yeah.
It's earmarked. There's all kinds of stuff here. Fascinating philosopher. Fascinating philosopher. And he wrote, actually, this comes out of a lecture that he gave in Edinburgh. He was a Scottish jurist. And he did a ton of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Meditative writings, as well as transcendental writings. He was a transcendentalist philosophically. And this particular piece, he was of the opinion that everything has a vibrating center of a spirit, that is manifested externally in all kinds of different forms. But it's a singular force, not religious here, but he called it the soul or the spirit. And it gets differentiated when it starts expressing itself. I've got a group of trees out here. I've got an ocean. I mean, each of these is spirit being expressed in a different way. And the same is true in an organization. And it's an idea that has a kernel of a spirit. It's kind of like it looks to be expressed. And his take on this, and this is part of his lecture in the Edinburgh series, we enter into the spirit of an undertaking, into the spirit of a movement, or into the spirit of an author, even into the spirit of the game. And it makes all the difference, both to us and to that into which we enter. Yeah. Now, you think about that. When I get in the spirit of it, and we've all had that phrase offered up to us. All right, boy, I was in the spirit of that game. It was just so enlivening. Yes. Yeah. And the antithesis is true. If we don't enter into the spirit of a thing, it has no invigorating effect. We regard it as dull, insipid, worthless. And let us be right, is what he concludes with here. Let us be right as to the spirit of a thing, and everything else will successfully follow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's funny because when similarly, when I discovered this with Bob and kind of had that moment of that Tim Allen moment of, what are we doing? It's really interesting because when you think about it as a leader, and leaders, if you're listening to Blaine and I talk about this particular topic of entering into the spirit, the corollary to this is look back in your career, look back in your week, look back in your days. When you go back and you do your week review or your month review, and you kind of go and think about the spirit into which you entered into an activity. There's been many times in my career, Blaine, when you're heading into a meeting, right, with a group of people, and a spirit statement is statement. This is going to suck.
Yeah.
Well, guess what you're entering into it with the spirit of?
Yeah.
And in turn, since our topic is elegance, it shatters elegance. So when you enter into the spirit of an undertaking, just those first set of words, followed by the spirit of movement, which is what you do as a leader. Leaders create movement. And into the spirit of creating that movement, it is that spirit that sets the tone. That makes all of the difference to both of us. And both of us is you and the people that you're entering in with.
Yep. And remember, you're co-creating. You're co-creating.
Yep. Every breath.
And that spirit needs to be accessed by all parties. Yeah. Or I say needs to be. Yeah, you cannot do it, certainly. But if you don't, you will have, what we're talking about here, which is nobody's going to be emotionally engaged. It's not going to be exciting. We're going to regard it as dull, insipid, worthless, which is oftentimes the experience in most organizations. When new initiatives come up, changes proffered, let's go in this direction instead of that direction. Do we have to? Nobody's entering into the spirit of it. When they enter into the spirit of it, all of a sudden, energy kicks in. This is going back to that earlier quote, consciousness is focused on what it is distracted by.
Yes.
Another way of saying that is energy follows attention.
Yeah.
Energy follows attention.
Oh boy. Yeah, it's we could, without spending too much more time on this particular, but think about it, leaders, and one of the temptations you'll have is you'll misinterpret spirit with rah-rah, with cheerleading.
Not the same.
Rah-rah and cheerleading is not spirit.
That's motivation.
Yes. It's disauthentic. Unauthentic? Re-authentic?
Yes.
Yeah. Not often.
When you've entered into the spirit of something, you are inspired. I mean, literally, that's where the word comes from. In spirit, you are inspired.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to have your people exhibiting. So part of the challenge here is how do you do that as a leader? That is work that Doland and I do with our clients. How do we work with them in terms of leveraging this hidden law this law of elegant movement. And right on the front end, developing the capacity, the skill set, and the awareness to know what wants to be expressed. How do I tap into that?
Yes. Yeah. That's good. The observer. Quiet.
The observer.
Yeah. And you just touched on this. We'll just start with that very first sentence. Consciousness goes to the place that distracts it the most.
Yep.
Everything will be okay as soon as you're okay with everything. It's like, so leaders, as you're hearing this, unpack this. Come back to this again. Listen to this again. Everything will be okay as soon as you're okay with everything. And I used to tell my team, and I saw that was looking at this again, and this morning, early morning, pre-dawn, and I was thinking about this, and I used to tell my team all the time, there's a Zen-like moment. The Zen-like moment is put your feet flat on the floor, and leaders try this. Put your feet flat on the floor, raise your spine, get your shoulders square, and put your hands together. And be okay with everything.
Yeah.
Just be okay. And when you're okay with everything, that's the only time, which is a simple statement, everything will be okay. Watch your mind. Take that moment. Take that breath. Become okay.
Another word for quietude here, and this is what you're speaking to, is equanimity.
Yes.
You kind of go into that place where and at that point, you're more resourceful than you are when you're trying to change something, because if you're trying to change something, you're off balance and leaning into it.
Oh boy.
You're trying to counteract it. There's resistance that's being created.
Yes.
This quietude, you want to notice yourself. Yeah, is your hair on fire? And one way to think about this is when you move through your organization, you're like a ship moving through water, and there is a bow wake that precedes you. Literally, there's a bow wake, and no boat moves through water without generating a bow wake. It's a measure of how much resistance is being produced as it moves through the water. The larger the bow wake, the more resistance. And a lot of leaders have huge bow wakes when something goes sideways. Their hair's on fire, they're a bull in a china shop. And if we look at unintended consequences, you got a whole lot of clean up on aisle 4, aisle 7, aisle 8, and aisle 2.
Yes. And notice they're not consecutive. You've left a mess everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. So this is an admonition, and this is a hidden law. The hidden law of elegant movement. How do you move into an environment and through an environment without, and again, I'll use the boat metaphor here. If you're in the marina, there's a speed limit so that the wake isn't so large it's knocking stuff over.
Good analogy. 3 knots, baby.
Yeah, just kind of motor through here, even when things are perturbed.
Yes.
Even when things are perturbed, because it gives people a sense that somebody is breathing. Somebody's breathing, and you create a sense of safety when you're actually working from this perspective. There's a sense of equanimity. You're putting oil on the water, so it kind of calms things down a little bit. Now let's look at what we need to do. You're not trying to fight, push back, resist what exists.
Yeah. And just not to lose track of one thing you said earlier, Blaine, is so leaders, here, I'm going to give you a suggestion. Here's a homework assignment for you, as a matter of fact. I love giving homework assignments.
All right.
But as a homework assignment, take your phone. I don't care what kind of phone you got. Go to the store, go to the App Store, and download the free version of the Calm app. Now, I'm not plugging the Calm app, but in the Calm app, there's a lesson on meditation, and in it talks about equanimity. And there's a teaching in there that will help you learn how to set equanimity to the side so that you maintain your focus. Equanimity is that moment in the middle of a breath meditation that the back of your brain says, you forgot to take out the trash. There's a stinky diaper in it. and your focus goes, what? So just a tip, try that when you think, just calm. The last sentence says it. The key is to be quiet.
Stillness.
If you haven't learned how to meditate, I would suggest it. But anyway, yeah, I love this. Consciousness goes to the place that distracts it the most.
And you are the observer, and people observe you as you move. People observe you in your organization, and they make up stories about what's going on.
Yeah.
And if your hair's on fire, they're going to make up stories about we are about ready to die.
Watch your bell wake. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So observe. Be the observer.
Yeah.
And notice the consequence of what it is that you're thinking as well as doing.
Yes. Indeed. Oh, yeah. Vulnerable trust.
This is one of your favorite topics.
I love trust. I talk about trust daily. Trust is choosing to make something important to me vulnerable to the actions of someone or something else. And I'm going to give up. This is and I'm going to go find the thin book of trust again. But when we think about trust is, there's 4 dynamics to trust. I'm not going to get into the dynamics of trust here. But when we talk about this plane a lot, when it is trust, it's a willingness to be vulnerable. And it's a willingness to be vulnerable to the actions of someone else or something else, not just me. Trust is not, I'm going to trust you, but I am not going to move off of this dime. I am not going to tell you the whole story. I am not going to explore you for the sake of what. All of those, going on, all of those things break trust. It's death by 1,000 razor blade cuts. They don't break trust big, they break it small. So as you think about this from a vulnerable trust perspective, it's choosing to make something important to me, vulnerable to the actions of someone else. And as that leader, when you're focusing on how do I create that sustainable success in my organization and maintain that connection, trust is the connection. That's your golden thread.
And where this plays out in the context of elegant movement, whenever you're introducing change into an organization, and I don't care the nature of the change, something is at risk.
Always.
Something is at risk. In order to change, I have to give up something. I have to do something differently. And for most people, that something differently is attached to something that's important to them. Their preferred way of working, their preferred way of interacting with peers, or the chain of command, or whatever it might be. And if trust is an issue, they're not willing to put that at risk.
No.
To actually have it be subject to the actions of somebody else or something else. You're going to get all kinds of pushback. You're going to get all kinds of resistance. And then you've got stuff you need to clean up.
Again,
once again.
You got a mess on aisle 2. It's funny you mention that because, as we talk about that, we talk a lot, Len, too, with our clients and with the clients that we serve. And here on Power of You, we talk about a company is merely a collection of people in a relationship. Those people, what you were just talking about, is really important because those people have the way of doing things. They have a relationship with that.
Yep.
And you're asking them to change the relationship. And in doing that alone, just in that, you're going to experience, there's going to be resistance. Direct, indirect, subliminal, intrinsic, extrinsic, whatever big words you want to put. I can't use the word bifurcate here, but I'll use those other words.
Go ahead.
So, there you go.
There's a bunch of things that happen.
I'm going to throw bifurcate out there. It's meaningless for this conversation, but there you go. But as part of that, I love that thought, Blaine, because that does, without the vulnerability to the actions of someone else, and you can replace actions with the word relationships.
Yep. Exactly. And the whole idea of leadership is to cause change. Leadership, by definition, is a chaos creating activity.
That's
It's
what you're there
always
for.
constantly moving change into a system.
Yeah.
And as a hidden law, when you're looking through the lens of these ideas, these hidden laws, trust is absolutely foundational. And not just, do you trust yourself to handle the consequence of being open, honest, vulnerable, delegating, whatever it is? Do you trust yourself first and foremost? Then the people, what's going on with them? What do they care about that's now at risk?
Right.
What do they care? That question doesn't get asked a lot. We just tell them, go do this, without observing what might be at risk for them.
So important.
And if you're not observing it, you can't address it. If you can't address it, you're going to end up with unintended consequences.
Right. And you have to explore that. That's a really important point, I think, because we have a tendency as leaders, I know I had the tendency as a leader periodically, I'm going to go and I would assume you got it and I'm not going to impact you because you would figure out that because it's valuable to me, it's got to be valuable to you. And therefore we're just going to go do it. It doesn't work that way. And a lot of times people won't tell you the risk. They're not going to tell you their relationship with the way they do it and the why they do it that way. The Simon Sinek side. They're not going to tell you the why.
Yep.
So as the leader, it's incumbent on you to explore that with them and ask them questions.
So
there we go.
How do you actually use these laws? Right now we're at number 6 out of 7. So how do you actually integrate these into your way of leading? These different laws. We've got a program that we'd like to, this is a offer, and that's all this is just an offer. We would encourage you to schedule a conversation with Doland and or myself. And if you schedule a conversation, what we're going to have here is an opportunity to tell you about how you can go about mastering this process, mastering these laws, how to implement these ideas into your leadership, into your organization, and with your people. Literally, what results could immediately be possible when you do. That's what this conversation's about. So you see on the screen here a URL, and the idea is schedule a call, and that's what this is. It's a call to actually have a conversation with us.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got up here in that little corner is if you want to scan it, if you're in a place where you can actually scan this, that'll take you to the landing page for the calendar. We'd like to have about a 20-minute call, explain the program, see if it's a fit for you. It's not a fit for everyone. And this program, by the way, is an invitation-only program. We really are curating who's participating because the way that we participate makes a difference. So that's what we're looking at here.
It does.
So give yourself a gift, schedule a conversation. If nothing else, you'll get to have a one-on-one with one of us, and maybe both of us.
Maybe both. Yeah, sometimes we both show up. So there you go. So you do come talk to us. Please do.
Yeah.
Dr. Bartlett.
That's what we got here.
There you go.
There
you go. Elegance.
Elegance.
Elegance. Think of elegance. I'm looking forward to next week. The next week is the last law.
Last law of hidden laws of leadership.
I know.
This will be a good one.
It will be. It will
Massive motivation.
This has been a good one. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that topic.
Okay.
This has been a good group of topics.
Folks, thank you for listening. We'll see you on next Thursday at 12 o'clock-ish here on LinkedIn, 12 o'clock Pacific time.
For the power of you.
For the power of you. Yeah. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
See